And the act of living depends really on your environment and on your culture, the way you live, to make the projects done with the community, because making those projects with the community, it's like making it through its culture, through its way of living. So
Yeah.
finally, when they live on, or when they get this house, it's not a house designed by somebody else and built by somebody else that maybe it won't fit your needs. It's something that you did it yourself. So the feeling, the sense of belonging to this place is much more bigger.
Hi, welcome to By Design. This is Jack Baldwin with Raynard Architectural Designs. I'm really excited about our episode today. I'm joined by my business partners and co-founders of Raynard. I've got James Knight and Kaylin Kite with me today. James, how are you today?
Good, Jack. How are you doing?
Great. You're in Brisbane today. How are things down under?
It's very sunny. It's nice and warm finally. No rain. So
Yeah, you're getting the warmth while we're getting the cool.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day outside, so we're getting out after we talk today.
Kaylin,
Nice.
how are you?
Yeah, doing well.
And tell us real quickly, where was every time we talk, you're coming from a different country.
Yeah. I was in Switzerland for basically most of the month of October. So, so coming back there, jet lag still a little bit. So my mind is saying that it's midnight right now.
Right.
So hopefully,
I got to be honest. I kind of wish you were still in Switzerland so that we could have all.
That would be cool.
We could have
different countries. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And the reason I say that is because we're joined by Mario Novas in Chile. Mario, how are you?
I'm really fine. Thanks to having me on your podcast.
We saw your films on Shelter, so I'm going to give a little context for the conversation today. Shelter is a streaming app that features some really beautiful videos and films about architecture. The three of us have become really big fans, and that's how we got introduced to your work, which we're going to talk about. But for anybody listening, we want to direct you on how you can see Mario's films on Shelter. But with that being said, James, let's start right into the interview.
Absolutely. I got to say, all three of us just becoming like huge fans of yours. I know for myself, I've gone back and I've searched your name into Shelter itself, and you can really pull up some of your other work there, and gone through there and viewed that, and it's been really fun to watch, and it's really interesting style that you've been making these documentaries in, and I've really enjoyed it. So we wanted to start with, we always come up with a backstory. We talk to each of our guests and just find out where they've come from. So I'd love to know your biography and your background, where you've come from, and how you got into making documentaries.
Look, I'm an architect, trained as an architect in Spain. I'm from Spain, actually, but I lived most of my life in Switzerland.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was born there. I lived there till I was 13. So I think, it gave me a kind of a mind frame. So I'm squared to do a few things. And
Absolutely, very cool.
And my wife, actually, she's Chilean. She's a journalist. She's not related to architecture. And how we started, it's because in 2014, we stopped our work. We found we were working too much behind the screen. So no matter which profession, she was a journalist, I was an architect, but we were working the whole day behind the screen. So we made a 1-year trip in South America, Latin America. We started in Guatemala, and we came down to Chile by bus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was really nice. But what we found amazing is that we did enjoy living this together 24/7. So we thought, let's try to do something between us. Don't work with other people.
That's rare.
Yeah, that's rare, but it's how it started. And we try to like to say what we found interesting in this trip is like, yeah, Latin America, we have the opportunity to go to all these countries and speak in the same language, so we can find really a lot of different layers of talking, of speaking, of explaining things.
Mm-hmm.
And this we found it interesting, and we found a really nice human stories. So we said, yeah, let's try to portray human stories, and then we moved into the video. I had some training by photography. She writes really well. She makes really good scripts.
Mm.
But this kind of video we started out of nothing. So, and we did a small series, and out of nothing we were working for Actar, which is a publisher house in Barcelona,
Mm-hmm.
and we were in charge of making research on the contemporary scene of architecture in Latin America. So we did almost the same trip again, but yeah, with this commission. And personally, I found architecture in Latin America really nice because of not just the building, because yeah, it could be a nice building or not, but the building kept a huge story behind it because of the lack of rules, because of the minimum budget it has. So this we found it really interesting, and this is how we moved on making documentaries. Not because we find ourselves like we are artists, we have to express in an artistic
Mm-hmm.
way. It's more like there are things that we think it is good if we can tell them, and it's not easy to watch a documentary or film based on architecture because we cannot compete with all the good series or film of Netflix, especially when you are back home 8 in the evening, so you want to just enjoy something, not to hear an architect talking to you. So that's the reason we make documentaries, because it has a chance of screening it on a widescreen. So the way you watching them, it's like a collective experience. It's kind of more easier that way.
Yeah.
And this was before Shelter, of course.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So what inspired the most the one that I know us three have seen, the MEXITY project? What inspired that? And what do you hope kind of viewers gain from watching it?
Look, why we are portraying architecture here in Latin America, it's, as I said before, because of the lack of rules, and this makes the way people practice architecture more in a activism way. And I
Right.
mean, instead of just designing behind a desk or asking for permission, they face the issue, the problem, to the whatever they're doing, but like hands-on. It's a hands-on thinking.
Yeah.
So this I like it really a lot. So we try to make documentaries in different countries in Latin
Mm-hmm.
America.
Mm-hmm.
And recently we were talking with a lot of Mexican architects. They have I think a huge resonance, especially in the States, because they are teaching a lot there.
Right.
And look, what we hope viewers that they gain watching it's something we try to keep on all our works. It's like to make a kind of an impact in young architects, in students, like showing them there are different paths of practicing architecture.
Yeah.
It's not always finishing the school and then going to a big office and start doing this path. No, we have to face our what we learned at school in a wider way, because all the rest of the disciplines, they did it already. So you can find a lawyer working in 20 different fields, or you can find a
Right.
designer from service design to any other kind of design. And we as architects, we are kind of doing the same steps and the same kind of designs and things.
Yeah.
So this is the impact we want to create.
Awesome. Awesome. I
And-
love that.
Yeah, I think the movies, the ones that we got to see, we saw 2 episodes of MEXITY a little early, and the ones we saw, I think you really captured a lot of how architects are spreading knowledge, but how it is a collective, and how so many people are participating in architecture in a lot of unexpected ways. It's really neat. One of the ones that I got to watch was called Public Spaces. It's about architecture and public in different places in Mexico. And one of the quotes, there's different sections about design. And one that stood out to me, it said, design can be unnoticed. And there's a quote, I can't remember, you probably remember which architect it was, but he says, to be unnoticed, you need to be brave. And that really got my attention. What did you mean by that? Or why do you think it takes courage to be unnoticed?
He is Mauricio Rocha, which is
Yes.
actually one of the biggest names in Mexico as an architect, and it's because the project he did, it was this extension of the Anacawali Museum,
Yeah.
which the museum really pops up of this environment, and his extensions are really low buildings. You can almost see them. And if you think he got this commission through entering a competition, and we know when we enter a competition, we try to make something graphically like attractive. So
Yeah.
it's really difficult to get into the eye of a judge, and they go around, they see all the 100 different propositions, and just take this, and then maybe they will look a little bit deeper, 10 of them. And he won a competition doing this. I mean, you have to be brave to spend a lot of time, a lot of money and resources on entering a competition, and then entering a competition almost without design, and the building, you won't see it. So I mean, he was brave.
Yeah, you kind of let your work speak for itself without getting all of the attention and notoriety, because you're serving the public, you're serving the space more than you're serving the ego or the notoriety.
Yeah, it is like this at the end, and even for portraying this building on shooting it, it's difficult because there are 4 to 5 different buildings, but they look the same, and you can have a wide view of them because there are a lot of trees in the middle. So I mean, he was brave on doing the same thing with every building, and for sure during this month or 2 months they were completing the competition. More than one worker wanted to make something pop up or something with color or something, and he was no, keep it calm. So
I love
Absolutely. I think a lot of especially as a young designer, you want to be known for something, you want to stand out for things. So I think to be able to be pared back, I think that speaks for itself. But so many of us are like, we need to make a mark, and because we're such a visual medium, we kind of like, if I do this, it pops up in this sort of way that everyone will see it, everyone will know my name. And I think that's kind of counterproductive sometimes. So to do that is a really good way. You are serving the people in a better way at that point.
if you got the chance of building something, you can prove that what you have thought about it works in the end, because somebody can live this space. But if the chance is only to design it and to graphically express it on a paper, that there are other rules playing in these games.
Right.
Absolutely. I think one of the things that's great about these episodes is it's really eye-opening, right? We get to see so many different things you present them to us, whether it's the social housing episode or any of the other ones. And I like the fact that they're just little stories that you can wrap your mind around. And it really is like, especially from a Western sort of culture, you don't particularly grow up, or through school, you don't get to see a lot of these sorts of things in different cultures. So that's one of the great things about these episodes. It's just like, oh wow, like these are the small things that we're doing, or these architects are doing, and it's so hands-on. You just kind of, it's inspiring. You want to be over there. Kind of leads me into what I was thinking of asking, and we had a conversation previously about how you really would approach this. But the architectural firm called Cavi, where he was setting up booths in marketplaces and giving out advice for very small fees, or I don't know if he was doing it for free, but it gives you this idea that architecture belongs to everyone. I'd love your thoughts on that, because we definitely agree. I think architecture is something that does belong to everyone. Everything is involved and intertwined in architecture, and the fact that, like, I think some of the things I heard through the documentaries is like some of these communities didn't even know who architects were or what architecture was. And he's out there, he's kind of spreading it, and he's explaining what it is, and he's giving these prescriptions out, right? I think that's great. But yeah, just how you found him and what you feel, like how you feel about architecture belonging to everyone.
Yeah, look, he is maybe one of our main reasons we went to Mexico.
Oh, really?
Because we met him in 2016 in the Venice Biennale, and we were interviewing the curator of the Mexican pavilion, and he told us, you have to interview this guy. He made over 600 buildings. Well, okay, yeah, let's interview him. And he is, as you saw him, like really, he's a normal guy, really average one. And he comes there and he's just explaining his way of approaching architecture. And it was like, yeah, he slapped in my face twice, 3 times, like with having this clear understanding of, look, I found this path and it worked for me. And it not only worked for me, it worked for a lot of people. And he started doing this, and he said, yeah, if these people maybe will earn maybe not more than $4 or $5 a day, I can charge them a lot of money. So I will charge them for a prescription around $1 or $2. If I have to visit the site where they're building, it's $7. And he started to make his publicity with the paper where the tacos from Mexico came. So when the people eat the tacos, finally you can see Cavi. I'm an architect.
So
call me.
smart.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Really interesting.
Great marketing.
Yeah. So he has this kind of way of approaching things without any complex, and it's even more. He doesn't care of the design. You saw the houses. The houses, it's not a design as we understand design, but it's a design as people who live and they finally build their houses. They understand the design like this way. So windows have to be curved and a lot of different textures and elements and colors and so on.
And those people seem so proud of their homes too. I remember seeing some of the tours inside of their homes, and there you go. I'm just as happy with my home as if it was on YouTube on these tours.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, he even as you could see in the episode, he made his master by doing the business model of how he is acting in this world. Just the business model, something they never teach us at school. I don't know in your case, but for me, the business model is, you will get a percentage of the building cost, maybe 4 to 12%, and so on. He made a completely new business model. He gave the project for free. He doesn't care about the project. And then he made his PhD based on the urbanism he is creating to this kind of project. So I mean, you can support him or not, but it's something really new. It's new, it's simple, it's bold. I mean, there is nothing there's nothing that doesn't work in his system.
Right.
And
I think
he made the system. He has employees, so he makes a good living. He travels, he goes on holidays, and he teaches this to students who are actually also working in his way. So because there are a lot of street markets, and I just go there to be on a street market. You to have your I mean your place there, you will pay maybe $3 to $7 a day. And the funny thing is that, why he said it, people isn't afraid of talking to you in a street market, because we are really public. We are all the same here. It's really different if they have to enter an office and going traveling to a building. And we all know this huge city like Mexico City. If you want to connect with an architect, you have to travel to the center of the city, which is maybe 1 hour of a travel. So you will never do it. And
Right.
this way, it's a way of linking architecture and the knowledge of architecture with different clients.
Yeah.
And especially making all those clients, if they are going to invest $1 in constructing something for their home, for their house, this will last at least for 20 years, especially in a country with earthquakes and so on.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. In that public housing episode, there was a section that was titled, since we're talking about kind of like little sections in the titles of them, it was housing as a verb. And it says having a real home takes two things: culture and the ability to act in a collective way. Why do you think that collective effort is so important to the community, or that community specifically, and can kind of that same principle apply to different and other communities?
Yeah, look, this kind of title, like housing as a verb, was a kind of ping pong match between Shelter and us, because we didn't found the right words to create a good title for this. And it's because of a difference between, I think, Spanish and English, because what we were trying to explain is, or what they explained to us, is they are focusing of habitar. Habitar means the living a place. It's a verb, and it's not the habitat, the kind of house. It's the act of living, and the act of living depends really on your environment and on your culture, the way you live. To make the projects done with the community, because making those projects with the community, it's like making it through its culture, through its way of living. So finally, when they live on, or when they get this house, it's not a house designed by somebody else and built by somebody else that maybe it won't fit your needs. It's something that you did it yourself. So the feeling, the sense of belonging to this place is much more bigger. And this means they will keep this place cleaner, more nicer, and also keeping the exterior of this place cleaner, nicer. And this makes that finally the whole community, it's an impact which makes better impact to all the community. This is the way we try to,
Well, it's it's a participation, and everybody in the community plays a role in creating living spaces and living environments. Whether you're the designer, the homeowner, the builder, everybody has a part to play. And I think that's what you touched on in that story, and that was inspiring. And we kind of talked about this earlier, but architecture kind of belonging to everybody. You're creating space. That's what architecture is. It's creating livable space. And I love how empowered those people, the attitude of empowerment that those people exude when they talk about their home and how they contribute to creating those dwelling spaces.
Yeah.
Which I have to say, it's really difficult for those architects and organizers, because Mexico has actually a big amount of money through this architectural bank called Infonavit.
Yeah.
And people is used just to stay there, and they will give them the houses. So when you go there, like with the proposition of, I will give you a house, but you have to work also on this house, it's like at the beginning, oh no, it's not something I would like to join. But yeah, they managed to do it in this way.
Interesting.
Which I think it's a huge success, especially in Mexico, of doing it.
Yeah. I'm going to go back to the public spaces episode again. We're kind of ping-ponging too.
Yeah.
I loved the pyramid. When I got to visit Oaxaca and Mexico City when I was in college, I got to see some of those ruins, Monte Alban, and got to see some of the places in Mexico City. We don't really have anything that ancient in America. We just really lack that kind of history. But there was one project that you highlighted with this pyramid, and this team of architects were tasked with building a public space, designing a public space right next to that pyramid. And the subtitle was "Design Can Be Risky." They're taking on this risk by building next to this pyramid. What do you think the risk was, and why do you think it's important for architects to take risk as they're designing?
So I don't know if to make a statement of how architects should be more risky, but I would like to maybe encourage architects and also myself, including me. So not just going to those formal risk, the shape of the building, but being more risk maybe in exploring new constructive system, maybe things that doesn't look so good graphically, but at the end it's a huge improvement in the terms of how you finance it or how it will last for maybe longer. Especially this kind of project you're mentioning, it's a cultural center, and it's finally they did a pyramid with stairs, so you can go above the pyramid, and it's quite simple in this way, but it worked perfectly.
Yep.
And it was first a project that won a special prize in Mexico, then in Latin America, and then in the whole America to this the MCHAP, how you call it, the Mies Kronhall prize. So
Okay.
it was a really important building. It was well done. When you are there, it's even a building that it's nicer than what you can get to the images, to the footage.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we all know that there's a certain kind of buildings that, if you wait for a certain kind of hour and you have this kind of wide lengths, you know how to make this work. And but no, here I can, the film could be done by my daughter. She is 5 years old, and it will look exactly the same and really nice. So it's one of the nicest buildings we got there. And this way, I want also add that, this episode, you saw that this public spaces episode, and then there's the social houses episode. The public spaces episode, it's really for architects. It's really an architectural episode. The other one, it's really outside architectural taste, I would say.
Right.
So.
Yeah, but we really enjoyed watching both of those. I think the rest of them come out on November 21st, when the whole thing is going to be released, and we're excited to see the whole series.
Yeah.
It's very immersive. I just really feel like when I'm watching these films that you've created, I really feel like I'm a part of the environment that I'm watching. There's a good pacing and a good immersion, and the music that accompanies it. Everything about it really makes me feel like I'm right there back in Mexico, among those places. So you and Kate did such wonderful work. Did you have a favorite project or have a favorite story that comes to mind, Mario?
On this MEXITY?
Yeah.
Which could be a favorite one? This cultural center, I enjoyed shooting it. I enjoyed really a lot of editing it. But as the same way that Kavi was kind of a pain in the ass doing the editorial work, because we filmed it a lot of days, and we didn't know how to grab the thing and keep one thing that is closed. And we try to show him doing different things, but not trying to show a lot of different things, because otherwise the audience get lost on it, no?
Right.
Yeah.
But
it's a difficult story to tell when somebody's out in the market, out in the public, moving around so much.
Right.
Yeah. And actually, I think we did earlier the one with the social one, and then when we went back to this episode of the public spaces, we found that we couldn't not only portray like architecture design as another architecture design, because maybe the episode is like a magazine, like yeah, you just go plus and plus and plus, and we didn't have this audio of the users, which is really important usually for our films, to not just interview the architect but also the users.
Right.
And this is how we ended up making these small titles in the middle, because it gives you kind of a mindset, a frame, how you have to look at the next project. Like yeah, thinking they risked, how they risked, it's like almost unnoticed. Why is it unnoticed? Yeah,
Right.
indeed, it's this is the kind of play we wanted to achieve with the viewers, which we kept then in the next episodes.
Well,
Which
again,
I have to say, I also, that's really nice of working with Shelter, because yeah, you already met Camille and Dustin. It's really easy to work with them in terms of creativity, in terms of they almost doesn't ask which project I'm going to portray in Mexico and which we won't portray, because they kind of relay this in our expertise or in our experience. And I mean, I think they're making a huge difference in this architectural world,
yeah,
because we are used to enjoy architecture only by images.
right.
And now having this audiovisual format, because finally audiovisual format, it doesn't mean just having this image with a nice music underlining it. No,
Right.
it's something more. This audio channel, we can fill it with a lot of things, with the noise from the street, with what you are hearing from a user, what the architect tried to make, and maybe he's thinking that he didn't achieve it, or maybe he achieved it. So in the end, it's something different, because if you go to Arc Daily, yeah, as I go to Arc Daily, I see projects. I like this. This I don't like it so much. This I like it. This I don't like it. But it's just this kind of interaction with what I see. But yeah, taking this into a video, it's a different interaction. Maybe I don't like the project itself, but I can empathize a little bit with what were the conditions,
Right.
and understanding why it was like this in the end.
Well, ultimately, every home, every building has a story, and so it's an opportunity just to tell those stories and talk about the people who are participating in that. And so, Mario, thanks for telling us your story. I feel like we could. I'd like to keep talking again. I hope we get to have you back, and the next time with Kate. We are going to be interviewing Camille and Dustin for By Design in February, so that'll be here before you know it. We're excited about it. But if you don't have a Shelter, anybody who's listening, if you don't have a Shelter subscription, I do recommend. We don't get paid to say that. I just really like Shelter, and it's been a great, resource for us. So Mario, is there anything you want to share with anybody listening, ways they can connect with you, or anything that's important to you that you'd like to share with our audience?
I always say, please, to everybody, feel free to reach out for any questions or comments. We are always really happy to get this discussion with anyone, and we really take the time to do it via mail, via whatever. So it's nice, and sometimes even trying to connect people, because there are certain people that want to have a trip to Ecuador, to places we visited, and we can link them to certain architects which we know they are happy to receive them and to show them around. So
yeah, that'd be great.
Awesome. Yeah.
Take this as an opportunity.
Well,
absolutely.
You've got three people who love to travel. So we would love to have you come film one of our houses that we designed. That's what we're really hoping for.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
James, do you think we can get Mario up to North Georgia to film one of our houses out in
It's a little bit different from Mexico, but you'd love the mountains. It'd be a good time.
Yeah, for sure, I will love it.